Hello! Hello! And welcome to a wondrously okay podcast. Just let this feeling of glory and pride overwhelm you as you listen to this Dad and Sons podcast.
Someone woke up on the right side of the bed.
I am George Weedman, and my friends are Liam Edwards and Matt Visual.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. Hi.
And we are here to accompany you throughout your terrible week to talk about pop culture, video games, and the insanity that surrounds us all. I thought, why not start us off with the usual 2020 terrible topic du jour? What are the grocery stores like for you guys right now? In Atlanta, we don't know if we're locked down or not. The governor and the mayor are saying two different things. And I saw a group of kids hanging out by the sushi and the sandwiches at the door with a dog. They were holding a dog in their arms with masks pulled down below the mouth, like laughing and hooping and hollering and getting, their cough particles all over the building.
Did the dog have a mask?
The dog did not have a mask. If you are going to have the chutzpah to walk inside a grocery store with a dog with no mask on, at least put a mask on your own damn face.
Oh, really?
Well, keep it there, rather.
Oh, there's no difference, really. It's become the new normal to just go into the supermarket and buy food with your mask on. It's not crowded here as much as it used to be.
Are people actually doing that?
Doing what?
Wearing masks and going into the grocery store?
Yeah.
Because all I've heard about America is that nobody's wearing masks. And
no,
you had
nobody's
like
wearing
70,000
masks.
people in one day get coronavirus.
Now, if you go to Newport near the beach next to entitled people, you see nobody wearing masks and going to restaurants and all that, and nobody's wearing masks. It's almost like there isn't a pandemic,
and that's the official strategy, is to pretend that there isn't a pandemic. Yeah,
you get the occasional person without a mask. Even, I would say, well, not anymore, but before it was like, even myself was like forgetting it in the car, no doubt, and I was just like, I have to walk back. Now I just walk back and get my mask because it's skyrocketing right now, and I'm not trying to get sick.
It is. It's skyrocketing, and people are acting like it's not.
Oh, it is. I mean, they closed the gyms again. They put some type of laws on restaurants that was already restrictions on restaurants that were already happening. No dine-in. So hopefully takeout is still good. Like takeout to the back of the store, outdoor seating. Because I kind of still miss that, and everyone kind of stays away from each other. So I don't know. Well, except for your friends. Your friends are all gathered up in one spot on one table. Which is, I don't know. I don't know how to feel. Like, it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, you could stay inside for the rest of your life, which is what, I guess, what people who are very radical about this want.
But stay inside for a year.
But that's the thing, right? It's like people...
I'm not okay with that, though. That's the thing. I'm not, like, I'm going to go ahead and say I don't want to stay inside for a year. But I do want restriction.
Staying inside for a year. But there's trips to be made.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, right? The problem is not that specific attitude, but an attitude similar to that is that this is never going to go away, so I'm just going to get my life back on track and do what the hell I want. Problem with that is
bad. Yeah.
Nobody's life will be normal ever, because that just exacerbates the situation even further. And unless people in specifically America and the UK are gonna wear masks and are gonna get used to this new normal, which is to wash your hands, rub with alcohol gel, and wear a mask,
wash your hands, man.
It's never gonna go back to normal. You're gonna have basically all of your elderly population are gonna die, and there is going to be some sort of lingering virus that never goes away unless we find a vaccine, that when you then become older, you're going to be susceptible to. And for as much as it seems to be hyped up about young people don't get affected by this, it shows that, like,
Young
in the
people
recent
are
studies, now
very-
we've had it for such a long time, that it causes major heart failure in like a lot of young people. And it's like, what the hell's going on, America? Fucking this thing's gonna kill you all.
I guess what I want is not the back and forth. What I want is either they get serious and lock down everyone and just close it down like it used to be, and they have aid for people and not just like have nobody without jobs, and people are getting evicted. Okay, when supposedly the landlord wasn't going to be able to. People are getting thrown out. Like, it is fucking terrible right now.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in the world. The movement, everything. It's a clusterfuck. People don't care anymore. They don't care. So you where are you left at? Is either we get serious about the pandemic and be like, yo, everyone stay home, everyone do this, everyone. But you can't just make it for only some people and all this. And people want to eat. People need jobs. People like, what is right
I don't
move?
know if America is capable of being serious
I don't
about
think
the pandemic at this point.
I don't
because
think so.
without government assistance securing people's rent payments and groceries, there's this element of frustration that comes from getting those mixed messages from people in situations where you really can't stay home as easily as you can. And that frustration at hearing from the governor that the state's supposed to be opened up and the economy is supposed to be open for people who live out in the countryside, who may not have to go into a busy, crowded, cramped downtown store, versus hearing messages from the mayor of that big downtown city about how everything has to be locked down, is causing a backlash among a certain percentage of the population that is actively screwing up everything for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Not to get all crazy in the first minute of the podcast, but it's just like, fucking hell. I am so annoyed, like, about the gym and stuff. Like, I'm just like calm about it, but I'm also really annoyed. It's just like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? We're all gonna get pudgy.
I've heard that there's TV commercials now, and I'm already there. I have pudged. I think I pudged up like 4 or 5 weeks ago. But I don't know if you guys still watch TV or not, but I've heard that at least here in America, that frustrating mixed messages is happening in commercials. I've heard that there are commercials that'll have a message that's something like, here throughout these shitty times that are awful, we're in it together, before another commercial will play that'll be like, now that the shitty times are behind us and we're reopening the economy again, buy this new product together with us. And I don't know if you guys have TV or not. Have you guys seen that? Is that what it's like?
I haven't watched TV in quite a while. Well, regular TV, anyway.
I mean, I don't watch Japanese TV at all, so.
I wonder what the "we're all in this together" commercials are like in Japanese.
Non-existent, because we don't have, well, I mean, apart from Tokyo, we're pretty much okay. And everybody's wearing a mask. And when I go to the supermarket or whatever, everybody's wearing a mask. And when you walk in the door, there is temperature sensors and there is alcohol gel and there's spray. And it's like, in Japan, all the workers are wearing gloves. They're wearing masks. They clean everything. It's like, hey, look what happens when we all work together. We can all go out and do things. Yeah. Bars are open. I went to karaoke once. That was pretty cool. But, you know.
I wonder if "we're all in this together" commercial in Japan might come off as less sarcastic or like less patronizing.
Probably, right, Liam? Because like,
Are they actually in this all together?
I don't think they would. I don't think they would even exist, to be honest. Because there's no need. It doesn't change anything about Japanese culture that didn't already exist, which is everybody wears a mask when there is the flu going around. Like, Japan is seriously susceptible to influenza every winter. It's a big thing in Japan. So every winter, everybody knows to get the vaccine or the flu shot or whatever, and to wear a mask in the office. It's not to protect you, it's to protect others from you. And it's just common courtesy in Japan. It's a social faux pas to cough and not be wearing a mask. You will get asked by your employer or fellow colleagues to wear a mask if it seems that you're sick. It's just the way it is. So it's mad. But then
here, there's a bunch of videos about people. Yeah, a bunch of people just like, I don't want to wear a mask. It's all a lie. I should be able to do whatever I want.
Yeah, lowers your oxygen content. It's God's clean air.
Get the gun, Billy. Yeah, it's just, come on, guys.
It's mad. It's mad. Like, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what to say to both of you. Like, you live in crazy bizarro world. I don't know.
I mean, I'm used to it by now, to be honest. This is just a continuation of Bizarro World. And then just get bizarre. It was already bizarre for me.
I wonder if we'll ever take the step back to Bizarre World instead of Bizarro.
On the flip side of that, you can stay inside and isolate while playing video games if you're partial to that.
Watching some Netflix.
Ooh, a little bit of Netflix.
Yeah. I get some Netflix and
Was it dark?
Or no?
You watching dark? Dark?
It's on the list. It's on the list. Okay. It's 2 seasons that I have to catch up to. And I feel like I need to rewatch the first season.
Amazing seasons. Okay, so what you been doing? What you been watching?
Shoot, to be honest, I've been pretty busy. But I finished A Way Out, and that was a completely garbage game. I mean, complete shit.
Oh, okay. I was hoping your mind would change by the end, but guess not.
Me and Pat were looking at lists for co-op games, and he was telling me that he sees A Way Out at the top of every list because they were looking for another game, and A Way Out. Yeah, because
you two are the weirdos.
Yes.
Everyone else on the planet loves this game. Everyone.
I'm okay with that.
Now you get to be the weirdo. Yeah. How does it feel?
To be honest, it feels like I don't like games anymore, because if that's considered an okay game, then I have no taste whatsoever.
God damn it.
Because Liam, oh my god. Oh my god, if Liam were to play it, I swear to you, George, he would not like it. He would pick it apart in his own Liam way. He'll be like nice about it at first, and then as he spends more and more time, wastes more and more of his time, he's gonna be like, oh no, this is
how long was it in the end?
It's not
about 5 hours and 30 minutes.
That's at least in its favor, at least. So this is the thing. So this is something I briefly want to talk about. So myself and my partner have been living together for like 3 or 4 months now. We moved in and we started, trying to play games. She's never played games ever since she was a kid. Maybe she played Pokemon. She's Japanese but has never played games. And I got her to play one game from start to finish in one night. And it was a short hike.
Yay.
What? Seriously? She sat down and played it?
Yeah, I was like, hey, we're going to play this game. Like, I'm not going to hold the controller. You're going to do it. I'll help you out. And obviously she didn't explore the whole island. She didn't really know what she was doing. But a short hike is so well designed that it's so hard not to make it to the end whilst...
It's like, you got to go up to the top. Right.
You just get to the top, right? And I explained, you got to get golden.
It's so open.
So that's the thing. So actually, it's funny because as long as you walk around one side, you actually have to fly to the other side of the island, right? So the game is so go in its favor. Like, actually, if you walk most of the time and do a little bit of jumping, you can actually make it to the parts where you need to get to the top without having to do extensive bits of flying. And also, you can get enough golden feathers from buying it from the visitor center and from finding it and then paying the guy. That all she was doing was looking for coins to pay, and then she got enough to, with some little push and shove at the end, get to...
Yeah, fuck that guy at the hill.
Fuck that guy at the hill. But she did it, and she finished it, and it was amazing. And she was like, I really enjoyed that. And I'm like, now I'm thinking, okay, how do we play more games? It's hard to find more games that are like a short hike. A short hike is a special little game. It's such a great special game. And I can't believe how well, she took to it. I mean, at the end, when, spoilers for short hike, at the end, when you're at the top, she was like, wow, this is beautiful. What an amazing thing. And I was like, yeah, this is what video games can be like. So now I'm looking into what are like local multiplayer games that I can play where her, maybe her inexperience, let's say.
Last of Us, obviously. The Last of Us.
Well, that's the thing is I played a little bit of that, and she has like a morbid curiosity for horror, even though she's terrified. She watched me play. Okay. She watched me play Resident Evil 2, and she enjoyed watching that.
Really?
But she had a morbid curiosity about Last of Us, but then she tried to play it, and this goes back to there's an incredible video by Rasputin, a YouTuber, about making his partner who's never played games play games.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
That video speaks so true because I was watching her play The Last of Us, and the right stick camera is just impossible for people who've never played games.
Yeah,
it's just impossible. So a short hike having a static camera was part of the reason I chose it. I was like, well, she doesn't have to fuck with the camera. All she can do is rotate, the
That's
character.
why you do snipper clips, man. That's why you do snipper clips.
Yes. See, so this is the thing. That's on the list. And a way out, kind of, I was like, maybe it's narrative driven, like kind of maybe a bit ezy on the easy side.
Don't you fucking dare.
But then you
fucking dare.
Then you sold me that I shouldn't even bother. So that got crossed off.
Do not waste your money on that piece of shit.
It's a fine game. It's totally fine.
The writing is horrible.
Oh, that's subjective.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. It's actually pretty shit. It's actually absolute shit.
Is it Life is Strange bad?
It is not David Cage bad.
No, it is worse than both. It's just bland. This is what Europeans or whatever think about America. Hey, so what you doing? I'm doing okay. Gas is so expensive. Oh, okay. Glad to hear that. That's a conversation. That's a fucking conversation. And it's absolute shit. It's absolute shit. Like, they have all these little bits of conversation all throughout the game. And all you can do is bust out fucking laughing. The guy who plays the main character is like the brother of like the director guy who says,
I did hear about that.
And he is proper bad. The other voice actors are kind of okay sometimes, but whoever was doing the voice directing messed up a couple times, for sure. No doubt. There's like George is talking about like certain moments when like you're robbing somewhere and both characters have to kind of pay attention to what's going on, but those moments are like a half of a hand.
There are 3 scenes in that game that I have like legit fond,
half of a hand,
legitimately fond memories of as some of the best gaming I had that year. Whoa. So it's all subjective and into the eyes of the beholder, and your mileage may vary.
No. I think if a listener's listening to this, think about what George played during that year. Okay? Think about what he comes to the podcast playing. All right? And then make that choice. You guys don't want to see George's cam right now.
So you didn't like the old folks home in the beginning when you play the banjo and look at their family photos and piece together cute little environmental storytelling and fix up their truck?
No,
it's before the hilarious boat scene where the indestructible boat.
See, I feel like I should play to be the middle ground to see which side it falls. Because the YouTube comments, to be fair, of last week's episode were pretty in George's favor, I've got to be honest. A lot of people were surprised you didn't enjoy it, man.
I don't look at your terrible opinions, okay? Okay, audience? I don't look at... It's absolute garbage.
YouTube comments are generally not the best place on the internet. No, but anyways.
No. I'm joking. But like,
what about the hospital escape sequence? I thought that shit was hilarious. Like me and Colin were laughing our asses off for like 10 straight minutes through that shit. There were some failed QTEs that caused some glitch comedy, sure, but that's part of it. I have a tolerance for that.
Yeah.
Hospital escape sequence, hilarious stunts, stumbles and tumbles. There were some dashes out windows.
Okay. I would say Detroit, the chase scenes and those action pieces, they feel quite good, you know, using the sticks, right? When you play A Way Out, it's like, oh, when do I press X? That is the game. When do I fucking press X? You're all on rails. If Liam plays this game, he's going to understand how it was made, and he's going to understand how basic this shit is. Like, I'm gonna say, it's just like there's no. It's literally you go this way. When you're driving a car, it pushes you where to go. Oh my gosh, the boat section. I'm not going to talk about the boat section.
Oh, that boat section's goddamn hilarious. Okay, Matt, what about the ending? Without spoiling the specifics, I thought there were very cool twists related to gameplay at the ending.
Spoil it.
Both gameplay and story-wise. Like, it all came together at the end, and that's when my mind changed, and now when I look back on it after that ending, I start thinking, man, what a neato game.
Okay, so do you want me to just give you a vague answer?
I'll mark it down. We'll put a spoiler alert for the ending of A Way Out here.
I'm listening.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Just spoil yourself. It doesn't matter.
If you want a way out of this A Way Out spoiler talk, then skip to like 30 minutes, 21 seconds.
It was cool, but the thing is, the game leading up to this was bad. That's the thing. Like, in the beginning of the game, they treat you to a scene of them in the airplane, correct? And it's almost like they're not friends. But right. As the game goes on, all of a sudden he's a lot nicer, and like it's such a disconnect. And I called it.
Right. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, but that's terrible. What do you mean? What do you fucking mean? Like, it's so plain.
You noticed something weird in the beginning of the story that turned out to be a Chekhov's gun for twists later on.
Okay, you know what? I'm not even bothered. Like, you love this game, so I'm just gonna let you be. The ending, the ending.
Oh, I don't know if I love it, but it's clever.
The ending, it's
clever little game.
This is like the moment where, like, he built the game just for this moment. Like, this is like, this is his like, oh yeah, you when you play this game, you're gonna be amazed. You played together this whole time, and now you're gonna be against each other. You know, that's basically it.
Okay, so we got to explain for Liam though, because he hasn't played it and he doesn't know what we're talking about.
You break out of jail, baby jail, because they break out of jail somehow.
It's suspiciously easy,
fucking easy, and
your partner is very good at these high-tech spy moves that break you guys out of jail suspiciously easy.
No, there's no high-tech spy moves. Literally, they passed a wrench through a fucking bar. Okay, it was fucking awful. The cars were fucking awful. What happened was I was playing the robber and the other guy was playing kind of like the murderer, rough dude, the guy with the better voice acting. And one of the dudes were a cop, turns on the other guy. I'm the guy that Pat turns on.
That's the secret. That's the big ending twist.
That's the big ending twist. So and then one is a cop. And then you proceed to have a firefight that is also on rails.
Each other.
Also on rails.
It turns into like a FPS style control scheme for like a good 10 minutes at the end.
But
where you're like screen peeking at each other and still trying to shoot each other, but you don't know if you're still playing a cooperative game. It's fucking
But
cool, okay?
nothing changes in the game. Nothing changes in the game. Whatever you do, even if one person wins that firefight or not, you still end up at the same exact place and see the same exact scenes, except for like winning scenes for the other guy.
The characters change. Yeah, depending on who
The
wins.
only time that it matters is at the very, very, very end, after he's done masturbating his piece for the scene, where you have to tap X again to fucking grab a gun, and then the other guy shoots the other guy. Pat can tap X way better than I can. But we were kind of wanting the cop to win in a way because his voice acting was better. But then the cop goes and tells...
Isn't that interesting?
No, he goes...
That you guys have like
the cop
preferred choice?
The cop killed a guy that he was, I guess, developed... If they want you to feel that they developed a relationship, I'm using bunny ears here.
Sarcasm quotes.
With an actual, not wife but girlfriend that supports him.
Yeah.
And a kid that absolutely needs him in his life.
Yeah. I do remember that kid.
Absolutely needs him in his life. And this bitch has the nerve to go back and actually tell her that he killed her. It is the scene going, the camera going around the trailer was quite good, but other than that, no. Like it was heart-wrenching to like, I was just like, this is so cringy. This is so cringy. I gotta say, like, to be honest, all that for that ending, yeah, I don't know. It was cool if it was executed better. For sure. It would have been cool if it executed better, but I did not like it.
I do like the idea and concept. The end of, if you played with a friend and then in the end, you turn on each other to finish the game. I like that in concept. On paper, it's a good idea. But the execution sounds like it doesn't really change anything.
I think you should play it. I don't know if you should play it with your girlfriend.
Don't
though,
do it.
But I want to shoot her now.
Yeah.
It's so manly. It's like
that's very Japanese of you, Leon.
She's more manly than me.
Two bros stumble and tumble their way through movie references. And I saw one comment that I don't know if they're fully aware that the game's super duper blatant about that. Like in the beginning, you're going through Shawshank and Green Mile. In the middle of the game, you get chased after by the villain from No Country for Old Men at some point. At the end, he starts going through Michael Mann movies. There's Heat and
Scarface.
So nothing is original.
The Departed.
No,
yeah, it is. It is inspired. It's the manly action movie, the video game, the experience with a friend.
This is why they denied him in Hollywood. Okay. It's because his story was absolute garbage.
The beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
I've never been so sure about myself about a video game being absolute garbage and not worth your money. Other than this point right now, do not buy this game unless you want to get drunk with a friend and laugh at it. There is no other way to enjoy this game. If you buy it to be serious, thinking that you're going to get a great co-op experience, you are going to be disappointed. Do not do that to yourself at all. At all. You are playing this game to press X and talk to your friend and laugh at the dialogue. That is this game. That is it. I am sorry if you enjoyed it, but that's just right. Because apparently I'm wrong, right? And I'm okay with that. I'm completely okay with that. I'm okay with that because it's like one of those things where it's not like I'm playing. There's like a lot of games that are like, it's not like I'm playing Death Stranding where people can kind of have a different experience, right?
Or Ancestors, dude. I am all about these weird games that are on that line.
Ancestors is way more interesting than fucking A Way Out. Okay. A Way Out is literally just like boom, 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 boom.
If it was reversed, we would hear the exact opposite direction of the same sentence.
Really?
Yeah. And maybe it's more like whatever game you most recently played that you didn't like is the one that's going to be completely ridiculous compared to the previous game that was on the list that you played that you didn't like.
To be honest, I stopped playing Ancestors, so you might be right there. I actually finished A Way Out, but it might have been obligation. I was like, we need to finish this, friend. Let's finish this. And we finished it.
There's no way out.
There is no way out.
So
Perfectly
you didn't
said.
find a way out.
Just before we leave that, if anybody has any suggestions of co-op or introductionary experiences,
Oh, I can give you a few.
I would be heartily appreciative.
I'm so glad Matt brought up Snipper Clips.
Snipper Clips is like
Yeah,
Oh,
but
shit.
I've played Snipper Clips before, so
top bar, dude.
Have you actually played Animal Crossing's local co-op mode?
yeah, briefly.
Because it is really freaking good.
Yeah, well, it's not because the other person can't have an island to themselves, but
But it's basically like playing Animal Crossing, except whoever is the last person to touch the controller gets camera priority and all the functions. So what happened is that when I was playing it with my non-video game friend, like she would basically switch over to cell phone, click around a bit, and completely tune out of the game, and it was fine. And then as soon as you tap a button on the controller, you're back again. And it's in the spirit of Animal Crossing being like entry level and friendly and accessible. It's so high up there and so good in terms of how it employs local co-op. Highly recommended.
I loved playing Sackboy with friends. Sackboy,
oh, Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet.
Yeah, there's no way to play that right now, is there? Unfortunately,
Is there not?
PS3 or
They never made PS4 versions of
I
those
thought
games?
they made a PS4
Nope.
version.
What? The fuck you
nope.
That's-
Little Big Planet 3 was the last one. It was on PlayStation 3.
Wild.
I thought they ported it over.
There's a new game coming out, not by them.
It's Mascot.
It's not anymore, is it?
It was in that little Sackboy was in PlayStation All Stars Super Smush siblings.
Which was on. Wait, was Little Big Planet 3 on
Yeah,
PlayStation 4?
it was
still?
announced. It was
Oh, it
announced,
was.
man. Stop tripping.
Sorry, fellas.
Back in 2000.
2014. That's why. Holy shit. Came out the year it came out. That's why.
Yeah, like that. Like, I don't know if they still have like user created levels, but like that was fun.
I don't know if
That's-
I
that's
could
a
go back
dope
to the
thing.
Little Big Planet platforming
Floaty
feel.
controls,
It's
yeah.
so floaty. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
it's very
a
floaty.
fan. I enjoyed the
Yeah.
first game, but I was very much done after that.
Just see, it's probably pretty cheap. So like, there's like a bunch
Mhm.
of stuff you can kind of like try out.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
I'm always a fan of Mount Your Friends as a first date
Mhm,
Yeah.
game.
mhm.
Yeah.
Oh
Games
yeah,
game.
yeah.
The dicks just swinging around and the guys with their mouths open. Great.
That could be
Oh,
good.
People who have no context are very, very confused.
Sumo Tori Dreams is a fun multiplayer game where both players just mash buttons and hilarious ragdoll shit happens on screen.
Sounds good.
Yeah. There's quite a bit, especially if you go off of PC. To be honest, if you pull in your Nintendos, you should be able to find like a pretty
How
good.
well did she adapt to a short hike's camera angle and jumps? Because when I tried to plug, like my non-gamer friend did have kind of a hard time with some of that stuff.
She didn't struggle as much as I thought she was going to, and I think that's a testament to this game. Honestly, I think a lot of what she would have struggled with other games is down to how well tuned this game is. I think the jumping was a little difficult. Sometimes she would miss the ledge because she couldn't tell. The depth perception is a bit hit and miss in that game. Platforms look askew, but they're not quite, and she would miss it. There's a couple of jumps where she would fall down to quite a majority of the mountain she would fall down to, and then she'd climb back up and stuff like that. But yeah, for the most part, it wasn't that too much. You could definitely tell sometimes. And it's another thing, it's interesting considering, I make games, but to watch somebody play and I would notice shells and coins and spots to dig and all that. And I'd be like, did you see that? Did you not see that? And she's like, what? And I'd be like, there's a coin right there. And she's like, I can't see it. It's right there in the bottom left of the corner behind the tree where I can see this little sparkly dot. For her, it's like the peripheral vision isn't expecting anything like that. It's just not paying attention because the game's not taught her to do that.
Yeah.
It's just something that the game takes for granted.
Right.
Because the people who play it are video game literates.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And it's super interesting to see how, how much she would miss. Like, even the big, marks on the ground where you could dig. It was a struggle.
Yeah, the hatch marks.
Yeah, like she just wouldn't notice them.
That symbol means shovel. Nothing about that to normal people means shovel, but to us, that symbol means shovel.
But she wouldn't, it's not even that, she just wouldn't even see it. And then she'd try and equip the menu, press start and press B instead of A, and all these weird things that we just take for granted, and just because people are video game literate. It's super interesting. If people want to know more, the video by Rasputin on it is very, very good.
Very good. Yeah.
Very, very good video.
I'll give you a couple things because it all depends on what she's into outside of games. Like, there's stressful ones you can play, but I don't know if you want a stressful one
No, I don't think that would fly.
Yeah, like, Cuphead or Overcooked. I think Overcooked is too stressful for someone who's never played games. It depends on it'll depend on the person. Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time.
Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time. That could be pretty good.
It's also pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And if she likes just being able to sit down and just kind of sit next to you and make choices and talk about certain choices that could come up in a game, like Telltale series and stuff like that. So I would say Until Dawn, if she likes scary movies,
oh yeah, she does have a morbid curiosity for horror.
Yes, Until Dawn is pretty interesting because it's like playing a movie, and that will get her used to using two sticks. Right, because it controls it a little bit, but you have to still use it. So it's just an easy way to kind of slowly bring her up to gamer status, and then all of a sudden she'll be 360 no scoping little kids in Call of Duty in no time.
She's gonna hate women and minorities.
Yeah, exactly, and live in her mom's basement all of a sudden, and this was nice, but
she'll grow a neck beard.
She'll be on to beat George. Considering I watched you play Warzone the other day.
Ooh.
Wasn't impressed, my friend.
He likes to camp, doesn't he? He He
died in the gulag, from what I could see.
But
so did the guy you were playing with. So
I feel like I've been too mean to George lately. I'm going to be nicer
we do need
now.
to tone it down.
I'm going to be nicer.
Did you get to see any Hunt Showdown?
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah, because I wanted to give a big talk over that game this week, because that's what I got into this past week. I got good at Hunt Showdown. That game has been one of the most interesting hills to climb in terms of getting good at a multiplayer game. I don't know if I want to recommend it to the average listener. I don't even know if I would recommend it to you guys, and I don't even know if it'll become like a big favorite multiplayer game of mine as the years roll on. But holy crap, what a fascinating week it has been.
So you continued playing it?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm 40 something hours in.
I thought you said that you were oh my god, 40 hours. I thought you said you were
I'm going back and forth. The game has a system that makes a lot of matches most of the time play very, very uneventfully. But when you get a good match where you do have a lot of action and a lot of events, my God, it's sublime if you're in the right mood for that game. Almost all the combat is sniper duels. So it's a very quiet stealth sniper dueling multiplayer game. It gamifies the old Western cowboy shootout style of tension and gunplay, where hearing the wood creaking in the cabin next to yours means that there's a bad guy in there. Or seeing birds scatter out of the tree line in the distance means that there's bad guys in the trees. So what you end up doing is adopting this mindset of thinking it's not necessarily the human being pointing a gun, shooting at me with it that I want to avoid, so much as it's the dangerous zones in the map. So they throw you into a big open world sandbox battle royale style map, but with only 12 players. But generally, most every weapon in the arsenal here is going to be a super slow one-hit KO sniper. like the weaker pistols won't kill in one hit, but you generally will want to kill with your follow-up shots if you don't kill with the first shot. A lot of the combat will be a lightning strike where you'll die in one hit. But as you get used to the game and learn how to avoid bushes in the distance and the tree lines or the cabins next to you, you start to treat the environment as the bad guy and start to think, oh, I didn't get shot by that player. I got shot by that bush or that house.
Yeah.
And so you move in ways where you're drawing imaginary lines coming out of windows of the houses with pie graphs going inside your head to determine where you can walk and where you can't. Like whatever that bush can see is lava. You don't walk in that bush's line of sight because you'll just get popped from some angle you don't see through the slats in the wood of the enemy's cover. You have to treat all of the combat in that game as a sniper duel. That feeling I love in a good battle royale game of how just sprinting across an open field will feel like a little minor accomplishment is like bumped up to the next level here. That's what I really appreciate about this game are those tense, sound-dependent sniper dueling moments. The PvE system that it's built with has a lot of opportunity for matches to go that'll just be you versus the AI enemies, and that's when I'll start to be a little more turned off of the game. A lot of matches will involve me running into an area completely alone, killing some AI monsters completely alone, and then escaping completely alone. And that is always less interesting than going up against another player. Like, mind games is something that you don't really get with an AI. And like setting a trap that you see another player fall into and then not be able to understand and then get zapped by your own sightline you carefully set up and camped into in your cabin with some slat in between the wood that you're pointing your gun through for someone to walk into feels so good because you have to route them into that danger zone. So I've developed a strategy where I will kit out a player with a lot of tripwires and I will plant them in the woods outside of whatever farm the enemies are going to be hiding in. And then I'll get to the opposite angle of the farm. They'll see me on one end of the farm, run to the other side to try and escape in the woods thinking they're safe, but then they'll start running into traps, and that'll alert other players hiding out in the woods to where they were, and it has that quick time to kill lightning strike deaths, but it will feel like a strategy game when it's happening. Like you'll start visioning little pointers moving around the maps in a dynamic, fun way that is just so fascinating because you don't see any of it. You just have to like hear it and deduce it.
Yeah. I've watched some gameplay ever since you guys mentioned it in the chat. And it looks quite interesting. It looks a little bit slower, which is quite nice, to be honest. Like from the tactical sprint, dash, crouch, cancel thing that you have to do in fucking Warzone just to move around efficiently.
But if you don't like camping...
I don't like camping now.
This is a camping game. It is a game for people who like camping and like going up against campers.
I think, to be honest, I think that's just the way you play, though. Because, like, there are plenty, like, is Warzone. You think of Warzone as a camping game. When Warzone is an app, like, if you watch any player who's won a game, they absolutely don't camp. Ever. They're out there in the open, constantly rushing people. I think it's just the way you like to play. And then this game kind of
stealth
helps
games.
you. Yes.
Yeah,
and it
it's
helps
a stealth game
with their enjoyment. And I think that's probably why it works.
There are not many good multiplayer stealth games. So this is like one of the few. And it's such a hard balance to strike too. Because having other human beings fall for stealth traps, that's something you can't guarantee. And in a video game where you only have so many tricks up your sleeve too, it's no guarantee that the same human beings will fall for the same trap more than 3 times in a row, you know? So Hunt Showdown kind of seems to take the rocky, unpredictable route of multiplayer stealth games by not giving anyone like magical invisibility armor, but just making all the guns really, really powerful, very, very slow, and making everyone's footsteps very, very loud. Like it's a map with a shitload of cover, but no magic high-tech devices. It's all like old world sniper dueling.
I prefer that, to be honest. I prefer that. Like it's something that's why I always enjoy Gears of War. there's like a playlist that's literally only shotguns. You go in there and you can just do work. There's no random nade. There's no, your teammates didn't secure the power weapon, so you're not just getting blasted from like across the map by some sniper or boom shot. Like there's none of that, you know. And I might like hunt. I might like
you
hunt.
might.
Yeah, like, and I love good audio. Warzone does not have good audio. That game is held together by duct tape.
Why do I like all the games you hate this past 2 weeks?
What do you mean? I like Warzone. I just hate how it's made. I still play it.
But no, Matt, don't you see? When you say you hate how it's made, you're saying that you hate how I am made, personally.
No.
Because I like Warzone. So when you say bad things about Warzone, you got to understand, you're farting in my face, you're twisting the knife.
George, when I'm crashing every other session, that's terrible. When the download is over 100 gigs, that's terrible.
Oh, you just called me fat.
Oh my God. No, that's like unacceptable, but everyone likes the game so much that they're willing to accept like ludicrous, like unoptimization.
You think I'm one of them?
Huh?
You think that's me? You think I am one of those people you're talking about right now?
I'm one of those people, George. We're both in the dumb camp of like, oh, I play Warzone even though this game keeps crashing on me when when everything's going great.
If you turn off the motion blur and the depth of field and the post-processing tessellation stuff,
man. I like the frames, man.
That game I feel looks better when you turn all that shit off because the image gets cleaner. Yeah. And it also was a lot more stable for me after that. So maybe you just needed to check your options. Maybe that's all.
Yeah. That's the reason.
I mean, I'd have no idea because from what I could see, George was uploading the YouTube version of the podcast at the same time. So that dropped his stream quality down to like 240p toaster level. So I had no idea what the game looked like.
That was a 10 gigabyte upload.
Why is it 10? It should not be 10.
It should not be 10, but for whatever reason, Vegas made me a 10 gigabyte file.
You need to switch those settings, George. You need
to use nested stings in Premiere so you can have our wonderful animation.
I figured out the render times. I got my render time down from 12 hours to just 2 hours this week, so I fixed that problem.
12
whatever
hours?
Yeah, the first version of the Patreon background took 12 hours to render, and now that that's been baked, it's going to be faster next time. But that first one was a 12-hour render.
By the way, www.patreon.com/dansons. I forgot what website it was for a second.
12 hours. No, George.
Come join our Patreon Discord.
It's been lovely.
Pretty lit in there. Pretty fucking lit in there.
It is pretty fucking lit.
I ain't gonna lie.
Come watch our Patreon background. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, stare more intensely into the background right now so that 12-hour render can go appreciated by someone in the world.
Yes.
Yes.
Have you continued with Persona?
A little bit. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should move on to Liam, though.
I watched him play Persona. It made me angry.
Where was
it? It made a lot of people angry, I think.
Yeah.
I was still figuring it out that day, okay? I figured out a lot more by the end of that day than when I started, all right? Look, fucking God, that game's
George
pacing.
Weidman, you have a distinct problem with judging a game far too early, especially when you know what you're getting into. People are saying, hey, this is a game with a really slow start. It's a fucking 60-hour long JRPG. And within the first 3 hours, you have a bucket list of criticisms about
no battles in that first 3 hours.
I mean, even in the 6 hours, like the struggling with the Midnight Channel and getting stressed about missing it.
They keep hinting that you can watch the Midnight Channel on a rainy day, so the weather changes midway through the night after you don't get the option to like wait and check yourself. That stuff is buried in the dialogue that had me save scumming, that had me like squinting my eyes and zooming the fuck in on tutorial messages because the grammar and translation is weird and stuff. And also because a lot of the gameplay mechanics it was trying to teach me about were not available for me to dick around in the menus because I was skipping battles during the first part of that dungeon I got to because I happened to get the shuffle time that had the hermit card that makes enemies ignore you.
Wow.
I
he is
get
not
it.
a Persona guy at all.
I guess fucking not. This is the first time in my goddamn life I've ever played a Persona game. Forgive me. Apparently, I'm playing one that has a worse version of the SMT combat system that I apparently would like better. That does play more like the Pokemon games.
I
should
disagree
know
with
and be
that.
familiar
I
with.
think Persona plays a lot better than SMT. Fuck that.
Well, I've never
I don't
played
agree
Persona
with that.
3, so I wouldn't know half this shit anyway. Give me a goddamn break.
George, you're okay. You're among friends.
No, I'm not. I'm 3 decades old. I've been to Japan 3 times, and this shit is not quirky and unique and cute anymore either. Like, it just feels like I'm seeing the same tropey shit I've seen a million times before, except now I have, like, real-life context for how that subtly relates to someone dying on a train that I was personally waiting on because it got delayed. It just being, Japanese anime high school, that's not enough for me anymore. I actually might have gone down way bigger of a rant than I was initially planning with that one, but there you go.
Ooh, damn, those are some fighting words, dude. Those are some fighting words, George.
Safe to say, I think this train left.
The comments might be a little bit more mean. The reason why that's fighting words is because you've played so little of it. And
it's still 15 hours. I feel like a hook should have happened.
And
by
I'm
now.
saying this as a guy who definitely agrees with I shouldn't have to wait 15 hours for it to get good. And in this game, it's way more than 15 hours. Well, I'll say Persona 4 is it gets you in way sooner. There is a lot of good dialogue in this game. Like a lot of good dialogue. There's a lot of really bad dialogue. I mean, yo.
If you had to think on any like all-time favorite scenes though, have I gotten to those yet? Because
No, you're 6 hours in.
You're in what, the second dungeon?
I am not 6 hours in. Oh my god.
You're in a second dungeon? You're nowhere near anything.
I'm not in the second dungeon because I didn't know what I was doing in the first dungeon until I replayed it a second time.
Yeah, you like went up to the boss. Yeah, you're not going to be able to do that.
Hey, I just walked past all the enemies. Why can't I defeat the boss?
No, I know why. It's because I didn't fucking... Don't think I don't know this shit. I do know this shit, and I'm just grappling with the infinity of how long of an obligation it's going to be and how I want to get out of that. And yeah, the other thing is it's not 2008 anymore. You can't just have something be anime themed in Japan and that be enough.
Oh man, George is going in on this game.
There is a specific reason why Persona is such a smash hit series, right?
Mm-hmm.
It hits on the Japan notes that people love. That's why 3 maybe is not as popular because it's very misnomer in terms of like where it's set. It's Tokyo, but it doesn't really have very much Japan theming and is a lot more along the SMT Shin Megami Tensei lines of just being a weird RPG about demons and whatever. But 4 was the first one that really tried to hit upon the fact that it's about the Japanese culture of a Japanese city and everybody knowing each other and oh my god, people we know are going missing and the police are involved and all this kind of stuff, whatever. And it's the first time the Persona series did that. On top of that, the pandering parts don't exist outside of anybody who just wishes they could visit Japan, like ramen restaurants and little jingles in the store and working in a konbini.
What about cute little girls who have no personality because they love everything?
Nanako is just the little sister. Like, they have that in Western pop culture tropes all the time. Like, she's the Aya, Aria or whatever. Like, she's just the little sister trope. It's not a Japanese thing. The way
she's supposed to have some deep, complex character. Not to say that she doesn't play a part, but like she can't be she's a kid.
Yeah, the pop idol character is about as far as it goes in terms of like Japanese pandering, and also the beach.
Some kids are basic, man. You got to understand. Some kids are basic.
I've only played for 15 hours. What is that? Like 2 work shifts, almost a whole day. What do I know, right?
Well, you don't know as much as me and Matt.
15 hours, but how much game have you played in 15 hours, though?
Not a lot. Out of all those 15 hours, I might have only had like a 1 hour long dungeon run session in this latest stream that Liam was watching 2-3 nights ago.
And it was the second dungeon.
No, it was the first dungeon. I said that 2 times.
Wait, it's the first. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, to get back to the pandering thing, I think it's important because you said it pandas, and I don't think it does panda that much. I don't think it does compared to.
I'll give you an example after.
And the reason why Persona is the most popular JRPG is because outside of the battle system and stuff like that, it's so different. Really, we're thinking the Tales series, or maybe even Final Fantasy and stuff like that. There's a lot of like fan service, so there's a lot of pandering. They're very, I don't know, the stories don't really go too far. We're talking, those types of games are more, I think. And I don't know.
Okay, so this game is Japanese 2 era. Sometimes you forget, but sometimes you remember. Reason why, like, I find this story fascinating because some areas you're like, wow, this is good. Like when it's good, and you're very surprised, I would say, especially for a PS2 game. And then you have these moments where it's really fucking pervy, like really fucking bad.
Dude, everyone's so horny in this game.
And just a little bit sexist.
Oh, a little bit?
Just a little bit sexist. Like, it's really fucking, like, there's one thing that comes to mind when Liam is saying pandering is Yosuke. Yosuke makes fun of Kanji for liking dudes, right? Because of something that happens. And he doesn't, at first it's kind of funny, but he doesn't let up. People like that. Everyone knows that person who makes gay jokes,
way too heavy on
who
gay
does
jokes.
not make gay jokes now, but wants to make gay jokes. And his character is fascinating. And we were having some, I don't know why I have deep conversations about Persona, but I was having a deep conversation about Persona, and I was just like, it is so cringy sometimes that Kanji has to be gay or it doesn't work. Guess fucking what? In the beta, you co-romance Yosuke.
Interesting.
Voice lines and everything.
And they took it out?
And that right there, it kind of like made me okay with liking the game, because there's some moments where it's just like, okay, this is pretty bad, guys. Who? Because there's like a fight. It's like you have probably like one team that's writing most of the good dialogue, and then you just have like probably some stern Japanese men who are like, no, it needs to say this about this. That's in my mind. I don't know how it works, but in my mind, that's how I see it. Because there's just these little moments that just do not connect with the rest of the dialogue, at least in the English subtitles. I don't know if they're different if people are listening to Japanese audio, but yeah, it's quite interesting. But yeah, man. Yes, the game has lots of bits where things like that, Yosuke being a fucking homophobe is something that's actually realistic in the game. And yes, being PC, it doesn't create realistic characters. Look at the world around you. This is anything but PC. And more people like Eric Andre and all those type of comedians every day, because they want to get away from kind of like, oh, I have to say this, I have to say that, I have to say this. Not to say what Yosuke's doing is correct, but Yosuke having the realization that he's gay, that he likes your character or whatever like that, and maybe mellows out throughout the story. If only the game actually went that deep and actually changed the dialogue as you did Romance, but that's like me being a hater of like, a PS2 game that obviously did not have the capacity to do that. Yeah, it would be quite interesting. But yeah, Sorry, did I go too deep? I've lost you guys. Did
No,
I lose you
this is
guys here?
wonderful.
No,
that's what we're all here for, my dude.
I mean, it's still not going to convince George to play the game, though.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna play more of it.
George,
Where is the line, George? Where's the line? You know you're not going to reach 60
I'm not
hours,
at the
right?
line yet. It's more talking with people about Persona is more frustrating than playing Persona.
So, do you actively not enjoy it?
No,
Do you not
I don't not actively enjoy it. I'm not like having the time of my life either. I'm having like on the upper end of the medium spectrum because it is fun. There are fun, lively characters. It's such a refresher too compared to all the other games I'm playing nowadays. These like grimy, gritty first-person Western shooters. Persona 4 is. Don't get me wrong, like as much of the arguments as we had about it, like it is such a soothing breath of fresh air having this game take place in a school in the real world with happy, fun, cute people. I can't lie, I'm in a hole here, right? But the music is so good and the art is so good, and I haven't gotten to, those moments where the writing is so good, but I at least see hints of it there. When I boot it up and hear that theme song, I'm smiling and I'm happy. The frustrations don't kick in until like 45, 90 minutes into a session. But I just have my list of stuff to talk about because I'm on the podcast.
Wow. Wow.
So I'm not. I was having more fun with Warzone and Hunt Showdown, and I'm not like having a blast with Persona 4. But I do want to keep going through it and see what happens.
George, let me tell you, you have a long way to go, and if you're not into it now, you might be wasting your time. I'm just giving you a heads up because unless you get bit by the bug, you're going to have to do a lot of grinding, my friend. And it will gnaw on you. I like the game, but fuck, I am fucking tired. I am fucking tired of this game. Okay? Matching socially.
Imagine having played the PlayStation 2 version.
One of the things that at least happened last stream was that a lot of the shit didn't make sense to me until I went back through that dungeon again for the grind. Like, fusing personas to your social link is a gameplay concept that was sailing way over my head because I had no personas to fuse because I was skipping so many battles. So when I went back and grinded, I do think things will go smoother from here on out now that I know the system's better.
I definitely like the cards. I didn't say this last time, but I definitely like the card system compared to like talking to them and trying to get them to be your persona. I fucking hate that shit, man.
I can't.
Maybe it gets better later on in Persona 5, but I'd rather just pick up the card.
like one of the things that I think is tripping me up is how abstract a lot of this stuff is. Like, why? How do you explain teleologically in the universe that a shuffle time happens after a battle? What determines that? Do the enemies die in a certain way? Do cards spew
George.
out of their guts? You don't see what what does a shuffle time look like?
I can't believe this is the question you asked.
There's like a lot of terminology and jargon, words like fuse and arcana and alignment, stuff that does not make sense until I click it and play with it myself, but I did not have those variables in my inventory because I was skipping shit. It's complicated. It's frustrating. It's
okay. It's okay.
Tune in next week for the same conversation again.
I'm gonna keep fixing that broken machine. I might be into some other grimy, ugly Western horror first-person shooter, but I'm gonna keep trying to fix this broken Persona machine.
Oh my god. What a mix of views here on the podcast.
I think Matt and I have had like opposite tastes for a 3-week stretch.
Huh? We like Warzone. We just play it differently, drastically different. And I feel like I watch and have sucked in way more information about Warzone. So like when you say stuff, I'm like, no, George, that's the wrong way. And that's where it it becomes like annoying. With like me being like elitist and stuff. Like, oh no, George, this is the way you're supposed to play. This is the way you're supposed to do it. I'm like that classic dude. It's because I played too much of it. So it's just like I'm being a douche. I'm being a fucking douche. That's the only thing. But we what else though? Like Warzone, we played together, and what else have we played that is the same other than Persona? Nothing.
Well, I was also thinking of A Way Out. You know, we have
Oh
different
my
opinions, but
god,
we
I
haven't played that
completely
together.
forgot about it because why
It's
would
already
why would I?
vanquished from your memory.
That game is out of my life.
Okay, there's one last ditch hope for me, and that is that A Way Out gradually becomes one of those games that Matt will like look back on with humor and laughter. That's
Only
my
because of
last
Pat.
hope.
Only because of Pat. That's it.
That's still valid. That is still a
you're
valid
not
reason
wrong.
to have those memories with Pat.
You're absolutely not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. And I mean, but that's for every co-op game. That's for every co-op game. It's like I think your mileage will vary for every co-op game you play. If you play with someone who's not open, who's not like, I don't know, cool to play some shit with you, like it's not going to be as it's not going to be as fun. Everyone has played games with certain types of people. Sometimes some experiences are better than others. Sometimes you don't want to play League with the guy who rages a lot. You don't. You absolutely fucking don't.
I don't remember even the last time I played a multiplayer game. I'm so far gone in giving a shit about playing online.
No, I think you're just becoming an old man. Okay, you're becoming an old man. Yeah,
you've got responsibilities, you've got duties.
Guys, time zones suck, man. I want to. We're trying. You join patreon.com/dadandsons.
/dadandsons.
Oh my god.
And we're doing it. We're doing it. We got the community nights thread. We're going to do it.
I swear he'll stop eventually. I swear he'll stop eventually.
Next week on the Dad and Sons podcast, you'll get to hear about us playing Titanfall 2 with the community tonight on the Dad and Sons podcast.
Patreon.
Patreon.com/dadandsons.
Oh my god. You shills.
So yeah, Liam, you're an old man now.
I am.
And you have work and professional projects.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
How are they going?
Yeah, same as usual.
What is it like being an old man?
I don't know. It's honestly weird because I've not thought about being 30, having turned 30.
It's scary, isn't it?
It is, and it's scary to think that 10 years ago I was 20, and in 10 years from now I will be 40. That I'm in that dot.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm kind of embracing it though. I'm kind of okay. Like I don't tend to drink spirits or whiskey and bourbon and that kind of stuff. But some friends purchased some Japanese stuff for me for my birthday because when you're an adult, the only present you get is alcohol.
We should also clarify. You don't like to drink spirits, but you do like to drink.
Oh god, yes. Like I do. So I sat down with the lights off. I made a Coke High, a Japanese Coke Highball, and put some of that bourbon and Coke in.
Put on
together.
some Hootie and the Blowfish.
And I started playing Curse of the Moon 2.
Okay, Bloodstained, right?
Yeah, so the Bloodstained spinoff that surprised everybody a couple of years ago, myself included.
They already made a second one?
Yeah, I was very confused about that.
The spin-offs are getting more games than the real thing.
Yes. So obviously the spin-off came out before the actual game, like 2 years ago. I remember seeing it at Bit Summit, then it got released immediately after. And I loved the shit out of it. I remember talking about it on the pod saying, man, this game is such a surprise. It's
Was it
really
better
good.
than the real thing?
It's totally better than the real thing to me.
No.
But the second one came out, and it's bigger, it's better, it's got more characters, it's got a bit more of a story, but it's got the same DNA genesis of like this NES demake feel to it. And sat down and started playing it, and then I was like, damn, yeah, this series is pretty good. Got to the second boss, and I got annihilated, and I tried like 10 times, and I couldn't beat it. And I was like, oh, maybe I am old. I can't do this anymore. I don't have the time to keep replaying this. So I actually put that on hold because one of the new things of Curse of the Moon 2 is that it has 2-player local co-op.
Speak of the devil.
Speak of the devil. But this is not a game I'm going to play with my lady. So what I have done is I've recruited a friend of mine who is going to come around next week, and we're going to do the same again. We're going to drink some whiskey, and we're going to play through it local co-op, because he is very good at video games, even though he is older than me. And he will carry me, so then I can feel good about myself, and I'll finish a game. I'll finish a damn video game. And then I'll feel even better about myself. But up until the second boss, I got to experiment with one of the new characters, which is a girl with a spear. And her mechanics are basically Shovel Knight. She bounces off the spear, jumps up and pokes things. Got a nice bit of range. It's good fun. It's much like the first game. It's a very surprisingly impressive little NES game. It's great. I do like it. I highly recommend it if you like the first game so far. But the second boss is bullshit, and I'll need a friend.
Does that co-op have online?
No, it's local co-op only.
I don't know if I'd be able to play it with anyone, but this game looks fantastic. The reviews are super positive. It looks as good as Shovel Knight. How does it compare to Shovel Knight?
So that's the thing is, like, I think they've really beefed it up. Like, if you look at some of the boss sprites for this game, they are quite impressive. Like, compared to the first game, which did have one quite impressive boss, like the guy in the gold chamber or whatever. But in this one, the boss is straight up from the first boss, which is like this nightmare dragon griffin type thing, is pretty tight. Very good pixel art. Very, very nicely done. There's a lot of good background sprite skate, like parallax stuff, which is stuff I've been doing for the golf project. So it's been super inspiring to look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, some really good smoke and fire effects too. Like
It's
gorgeous
good
color
stuff.
directions. Like you'll see everyone kind of be in the everything being the same shade of blue except your character popping out.
Yeah. I mean, they try to stick to the NES limitations. I think, they could have maybe something might have been cool where they do the messenger type thing where this was a 16-bit game instead of an 8-bit game. And then like you progressively get up to Bloodstained being in 3D. That would have been good.
That's what's giving me so many of the badass Shovel Knight vibes though, is like how much black solid color you see in the backgrounds. Like it's bold. It looks like neon.
I think this hits a bit more NES. I still think Shovel Knight does a better job of personality than this game does. Some of the colors sometimes seem a bit random, like they just palette swap things. But no, it's good so far. I'm only about an hour in, but it's good so far. I'm gonna try the local co-op, have a nice time with my bud over some whiskey, and then I'll join you gamers in the pantheons of gamer success.
In the future's future, games are canceled. Gaming events are canceled. E3 has been canceled. It doesn't feel like it if you've been exploring the Devolver Land digital interactive playable marketing booth experience, which they released with their video roundup of announcements.
Yes.
So
nice
yeah,
segue.
I fucking tried. This is a really, really clever, fun news mention. Devolver Digital.
Oh, I did play this. There's another game I played.
You did. I tried, Liam. I fucking tried.
I'm sorry. I failed you. I played this for one specific reason, and I was impressed, but I played it for one specific reason.
Matt, have you heard about this?
What? Which one?
All right, so E3 got canceled, right?
Right.
And Devolver Digital doesn't actually do an E3 show anyway, right? They do their Devolver Direct, where they have a skit show and segue the trailers into that. This year, they released a first-person E3 booth exploration game.
A horror game, basically.
Looks pretty good. Why?
Oh, it's
Why
tight.
does it look good?
It's tight.
The mysteriously abandoned Devolverland Exposition Center is filled to the brim with trailers and demos for Devolver's hot new releases for the upcoming year. You, the player, explore the Devolverland Expo in first person and watch these trailers in first person and explore other secrets in the expo's cancellation. Break into the convention center and avoid the advanced security systems to watch and retrieve all the trailers, gameplay demo videos, and other exclusive secrets.
Edgy.
While the game itself features no violence or gore, there are trailers and gameplay videos for other games that players can view that contain gore and violent scenes. So even though the Devolver Land Expo game is technically all ages, make sure you aren't letting your kids play them unsupervised because it's not all ages.
It looks pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. So I wasn't gonna check it out. I didn't even watch the direct, but then I woke up in the morning and I saw a message from a friend. So yeah, indulge me this because I'm very, very proud. So I have a friend called Tamar in Kyoto who I go to lunch with every Friday. He's a wonderful friend.
Oh, we'll indulge you.
This is different. This is not dear friend. This is very personal, dear life friend.
A regular person.
Yeah, a regular person. He's a lovely French lad.
I didn't know you hanged out with those, Liam.
Yeah, I do. Of course. He's still engaged.
There's like 3 of them.
Shut up, man. I have a girlfriend who doesn't play games, man. What more do you want from me? I'm trying.
So that makes 2.
Right. So anyway, Tamar is a great guy, and he lives in Kyoto. This wonderful young Frenchman. And we have our little club, our little gang of people. We go to lunch every Friday. Anyway, Tamara's been making a game called Olia for what must be 3 years now, 3.5.
Wait,
years?
I thought you said this wasn't a game dev.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it. I'm glad you said it, George.
No, I said he's still in games. But it's not a friend through development. It's a friend who
It's in his
lives
veins.
in Kyoto. We go to the bar together. We hang out, have barbecues at his house. Regular friend.
Stretching the definitions. We move goalposts.
A man's worth to Liam is like the games he's played. The game.
I bet Liam's mom makes games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Liam himself is a game. Yeah.
Liam's girlfriend is probably making a game, not letting him know.
Do you guys want to fucking shut up for a second? Anyway,
Delicious.
Tamar's been making a game called Olia for like 3 years, and we've been watching. He's made it entirely by himself, completely solo. Made all the art, all of the sounds. He's developed the whole thing. He's built up this whole wonderful world, and it's a game centered around this like magical spear that has this really crunchy, wonderful combat. And we've been watching it progress weekly. He's shown us stuff weekly at the Friday lunches and stuff. And he's been trundling along, and he's just making it by himself for a company called Skeleton Crew here in Kyoto. And then lo and behold, secretly this year, Devolver got involved. And he kept it secret from all of us. And this huge thing, then the Devolver Direct happens, and it's right there. His fucking game, and like I'm blown away because it's just this thing that we've seen on Fridays, and just your buddy who's got like a little personal project going on. You're like, oh, good job, mate. It's going great. You're doing a good job. You're like, test play sometime, and then it comes out, and there it is, Aaliyah, and looks great, and he's obviously been making amazing progress. But then the icing on the cake was the Devolver Land Expo thing, because it has a booth for every game from the Direct. And obviously, they've got massive games in there. Serious Sam, the Fall Guys, Shadow Warrior 3, whatever it was. And there, like, in there is a small area with all of Tamar's art, like, for the game. Like, all of the stuff he's been doing, all of his pixel art, all of that kind of stuff. Like, the stuff I've seen thousands of times. And you walk in there, and he starts talking. And every booth in the Devolver Expo has like the director of the game talking about that game. And you got Ralph what's his name? Ralph something.
Nader.
The guy who used to run the guys who make Dishonored. Arcane. He's got a new studio. And his game's like Wolf's Eye or something. He's talking about his game, and you're walking through, and it's all these. And then, walk up, and it's like Aaliyah. And then right there, you walk in, and Tamar starts talking, and, recognize his voice immediately, and the music. I felt so proud like of seeing his progress and seeing that happen. It was the most surreal thing. It was such an amazing, like almost had a little tear in my eye of seeing it. So proud of him. And it really was like the first time I think I've personally ever seen like a really dear friend who, has gone from making something by himself, something he's super passionate about, to then, almost getting like a record label, signing with one of the biggest indie publishers in the world, Devolver, and then, the Devolver Direct having like 500,000 people watch it, and there's this wonderful adventure game that has this great combat, and
Yeah.
it was so great to see. I mean, the Devolver Direct was awesome anyway. I think they did a really good job. The old man uncle from Nintendo skit was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And then just seeing that, yeah, I was so proud. It was like, my partner knows his partner and him, and her like explaining to her who Devolver are and why it's such a big deal. She was like, wow, that's incredible. Like, it's amazing to see something. It was awesome to see, I think. And the Devolver Land Expo, outside of being, something that had Tamar's involvement, was such a neat idea and a really interesting way of getting people to look at those games.
How do they have it set up? What are these advanced security traps you have to avoid to watch the trailers?
You have to go through like some sort of, it's basically like, it's the E3 Convention Center, right? It's the Los Angeles Convention Center, and and it's all like it's blueprint, it almost exactly the same on a smaller scale. And there are these, it's like closed, and the security bots are basically protecting the convention center, and you end up getting like a t-shirt gun. You fire t-shirts.
That's what that is?
Yeah, you fire t-shirts at like these security bots to like daze them, and then you sneak past them, and then you get like this glove thing.
It's marketing. It's like shitty marketing gimmicks are incorporated even into the gunplay.
There's so many jokes. It's great. It's like buy a t-shirt and stuff like that. Visit the Devolver booth for to progress and stuff like that. It's really interesting. And the way to progress is it asks you to visit every booth, and then you have to stare at a screen, and then the screen opens a video full screen, and you have to watch the video halfway through before it allows you to skip and carry on. So it is full on marketing.
Drink your verification can, citizen.
It's very well made though. It's a bit buggy. I mean, but it was very well made. There was one laser puzzle that was a bitch, and that was no fun. But everything else was pretty fun.
Oh, shit. Well, I guess that guy's game is going to flop now because no one got to watch his trailer.
It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people did stop after that laser puzzle. It was a bit annoying.
I wonder if there's like someone at Devolver who has a spreadsheet in front of them making correlations between how many lost sales are connected to that laser puzzle being too difficult. Anyways.
Yeah, no, I thought it was quite smart. The direct was very good. I gotta say direct.
Speaking of clever first-person adventures, Jeff Keighley did a final hours for Half-Life Alyx, and he released it as an interactive digital art book this time for $10 that you can buy on the Steam store. And it includes some details on apparently what were busy projects taking up a whole decade over there at Valve between Episode 2 and Half-Life Alyx. There were 5 Half-Life games that were canceled between those two. And we have details on what Half-Life 3 and Left 4 Dead 3 and some other not elegantly named prototypes that they had in the works. One of which was a Minecraft clone, believe it or not. They were making a Minecraft clone called RT. They were making a Dark Souls / Elder Scrolls inspired clone that they simply codenamed RPG at the moment. They were making a Borealis game that was going to take place on the time traveling ship that was the big deal in the cliffhanger ending from episode 2. And there's a little bit of new details about their first VR prototype headsets that they were calling Vader. Apparently they made a prototype that they designed, quote unquote, without compromise that would have cost $5,000 per unit.
So it was a face mask then. It must have been. If they codenamed it Vader, it was a face mask that or a helmet that completely surrounded you.
Ooh, I wonder if it had smell-o-vision.
It's got to be like a full-on helmet if it was called Vader.
Smell-o-vision.
So we could have had Darth Vader helmets, but you play in. Shake my head, game industry.
Yeah, if you want to pay $4,000.
Left 4 Dead 3 was apparently going to be set in Morocco. They had the Kerbal Space Program team working on a VR prototype called Sim Trek with literally no other details.
Interesting considering what's just happened to that studio.
That's all the Valve projects. I'm like, wait, what happened to them?
The Kerbal Space Program team were making KSP2, and they were making it for, I might get this wrong, 2K. I think it was 2K. And then one day, 2K turned up and were like, hey, we formed a new studio to carry on the development of this game because the owners of the studio making KSP2 don't want to agree to these terms for the game. So we're gonna carry on. We're gonna take the IP and we're gonna carry on making the game at this new studio that we've just formed. Hey, all of you guys should come join us at that new studio. We'll give you We'll give you a sign-on fee and all this kind of stuff. So the studio that was making Kerbal Space Program 2 basically got split in half, and then I think the original studio closed down, and now there's a new studio under 2K that is making Kerbal Space Program. I think it's 2K.
Are these the same people at Valve? I guess the ones they're referring to might
maybe. I'm not sure.
Former KSPs who ended up at Valve. Either way, though, sounds cool. Sounds like a different way of getting your art book merchandising hype out of 10 hardcore fans for a $10 sale after launch. I've had a friend of mine who was at least super duper happy with this purchase that they made. And that's a lot of news of canceled projects to be including in an art book like this. But since it's been a decade, I suppose it does make sense. It certainly sheds some light on what they were working on. It still seems so weird to me, though, that of all the items on this list, none of them made it through besides Half-Life Alyx. Like they
kind of doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise you that they didn't pursue a Minecraft clone more thoroughly?
Because why would you? They followed through with clones of other games like Artifact, and that didn't go down too well, did it? It makes sense to me that the project they ended up with was one that they can promote something they're interested in, which is selling VR headsets, furthering that as a field so it allows a new market, which they are one of the leaders in. And also, it's a Half-Life game that people have been starving for, and if they fucked it up, well, they can just claim it's not a real Half-Life game because it's a VR game and it's not an actual single-player experience. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. They would have been okay if it was shit and disappointed people. So it doesn't surprise me that that was the one that got through eventually. All the other games had a lot of hype. Obviously, that would have generated around them and they could have disappointed a lot of people. They would have made a lot of money, but, I don't think Valve give a shit about that, do they?
There's so many here, though, and this also, Matt is showing us that he has scrappers on his phone.
Hey!
I went over to the dark side so I can play your game, Liam.
Oh, Matt, you're a star. Aw.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy it. Play with a controller, please.
I don't know if I have a Bluetooth one.
Actually, give us a month. Give us a month. Give us a month. Give us
also,
I'll
month. I just won't play for a month.
I also just want to throw out there, remember like a month ago, there was that Arcane documentary where you also had things like in episode 4 that was being developed by Arcane and Return to Ravenholm.
Yeah.
There was a shitload of canceled projects on Valve's plate over the past decade. Like we have a list of, I'm gonna count them. 8 games.
They got a load of money. It happens. I don't know what to tell you, George.
Valve canceling 8 games over 10 years, I guess, just does not have the punch it used to, huh?
There's something else I think about.
The silence, No,
I mean, Half-Life Alyx came out. If this was something that came out and then you were like, oh my god, Valve haven't released a project in years.
Yeah.
Now this is what we're hearing about. No, it doesn't surprise me. What do you think they've been doing for 10 years? not just been sat there. They've obviously been making stuff.
Yeah, he's sitting there eating those like, oh, we should make a game at some point. And then they just make Alex. They just make it, yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna turn up every day.
The stereotype, actually, like, I don't know if this pokes holes in the idea of Valve not being diligent about taking these projects seriously over the past decade to completion.
Valve don't need to be diligent when it comes to their game software. They've been they're not EA, they're not Ubisoft. They still have a rather small studio compared to most studios, and they have 3 teams: software team, VR team, and then Steam team, right? So I don't think they have the ability to be, 10 years when you did 8 projects. That is, if you think that's almost a project a year, some projects don't work out. And this is the thing, is like, I imagine most of these games got past pre-production concept phase, and some maybe have gone into production, but then it wasn't working out. But even then, like, usually pre-production and stuff like that is gonna take you 6 months to a year anyway, especially for big projects like this. So with the team sizes they have and the culture they have of people swapping, rolling their desks and joining other teams and seeing what meshes with people in the office to make majority, I don't know. Seems kind of like how this would happen, especially when you got money and it doesn't matter.
That still doesn't sound normal.
It isn't normal. Valve
I don't know. It's still not
a company. They're a storefront, a VR company, and they make games.
The 3 teams. It's still. I don't know if you would say that paints the best of pictures, though.
But why? What is their cancelled projects on you as a consumer? If you enjoyed Half-Life Alyx, what does it matter? If the end product was that you got Half-Life Alyx, I don't know. It happens to every studio. Games get cancelled all the time.
But there's that 10 years of inactivity. Not many companies, most companies in the world could not come back from that.
In that 10 years, they made Dota 2. They made Portal 2. They made Artifact. They've made games. We're just talking specifically about 2 franchises, Half-Life and Left 4 Dead, that haven't been added to. They made 3 games that I can think of. I'm sure they did some more. And they made a VR headset. And then, of course, they made Half-Life Alyx. So technically, they made 4 games.
The 2 games in question you're bringing up came out like 7 years ago. I don't know if it's as peachy as you seem to be portraying things.
No, it's just that I understand the reality, whereas you can't grasp that games get cancelled a lot. And when a company has a lot of money, like Valve, I actually don't think it's their prerogative. They don't act like normal studios. They have a culture internally where teams choose projects based on how they feel.
And it can go for 10 years without that.
Tell me, 10 years is a lot, but I guess tell me, Liam, if this works. In terms of a YouTuber, they don't want to make a video that's not up to the quality of their previous video, like lower than the quality of their previous videos. So they end up stop doing. Obviously, this is 10 years, but you could kind of tone it down to a YouTuber life of like months, I would say, because I know I did that. Where I'm like, this video's not good enough, and I would scrap it. And I played through that whole game, and I was just like, it's not going to be a good video. It's just like, and I just delete all the footage and just move on to something else.
I mean, I can totally understand where you're coming from, right? And I think we have to be realistic and logical about what pertains to the expectations. Obviously, Valve looked into, sequels to these 2 popular franchises, of which they have a quality bar that these prototypes or production on these sequels did not reach. And even the Arcane game, they had people making that, did not reach their internal standard of quality for them to bother putting them into full production. So they did do that. And they had other games that they wanted to make at the same time. Some worked out, some didn't. On top of that, I imagine after releasing Half-Life 2 and also with the Orange Box releasing and TF2 selling like a bajillion hats a day, and Portal coming out and selling like 1 million copies, and then Steam blowing up. I'll be honest, I think whoever was running Valve at that time outside of Gabe probably was like, hey, let's shift our focus a little bit. And then the Oculus comes out and VR kicks off. And you got to think like Valve have probably been doing VR prototypes since like 2010, maybe 2011 when the Oculus was kicking around. So they've been doing that as well. Years go by. And as we know, video games take a long time. I imagine it's just that time slipped and the Valve time thing is real. But the logical thing is that they did look in this. It's not that they didn't want to do it. And I imagine maybe they did after a certain point when you try 3 attempts at a sequel and none of those 3 work. At that point, you're going to be like, I don't know. I think we should just give up on this. Like, we're wasting time. Unless something comes along where they're like, oh, hang on. What if we go for this perspective? A VR perspective on this where we can explore this world that people love and we have something that matches the innovative nature of the gravity gun, which is Alex's hand, her gloves. And then that seems like the driving inspiration for that game to get finished. All those other games maybe didn't have the innovation that Valve were looking for that matches like the gravity gun. And the technology, as we've seen, we've been kind of in this, lurch where graphically, maybe 4K and lighting and ray tracing and stuff has been the technical advancements for video games. But generally, games that you play now, you played Bayonetta in 2010, action games peak then, and hasn't changed much, right? So I think there's plenty of logical conclusions to this. One is money. Valve don't need it. 2, Steam is now the juggernaut it is. And VR came along, and I imagine Valve, which is predominantly a company about innovation, were really into that. And then not only then production on making their headsets, but then making a game based completely around that. And as we've seen, I think Half-Life Alyx is the best example of what VR can do right now. It's the most AAA of VR games, and that's because Valve, spent a long time on it. I think there's a lot of logic. I don't think it's that out of this world, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm not happy about it. It just looks like shitty project management. Like, it looks like shitty project management coming from a place of financial security that created a culture.
But what would you rather the opposite? Like a game get managed correctly, but the game comes out and it's mediocre compared to Half-Life 2? What would you want?
You
like,
don't. And that's what Alyx was.
Alyx should have come out like 4 years ago. I don't understand.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
A VR game or
the VR game?
Yeah.
I don't think but it wouldn't have existed if you think of VR games 4 years ago.
There's nothing you can do in Alyx that you couldn't have done on Matt's original Oculus.
Well, yeah. Like I would mean like at least sometime years ago instead of it just being now. I feel like now it's just the stuff that was used in there. It's too late. Like back then, I think this game would have been amazing. For me now, after playing VR for so long, playing that game was just like, the optimization is not good enough, blah, blah, blah. Just me saying shit. It's just like, okay, well, this game was good, but $60 is a lot for a VR game, even though it's pretty long.
If it's going to be another 10 years, I don't give a shit.
No, it can't be. They already started the ball rolling.
It's so funny because you will still play it. Like, the reality is if it's 2030.
Yeah. I played it. You kind of have to, though. We kind of have to.
I might be dead by then. I might have kids.
But you also might not be. And to be honest, if a game comes out in 2030, the video game landscape is kind of how it always has been, and we talk about it on the internet.
Please no.
It will come out, and you will play it. So,
I can't believe people even give a damn about what happened to the G-Man and the Combine after 10 years. It's fiction. It doesn't matter. Man, we got like a real planet that's going to burn up in 10 years.
Oh, no. Oh, no. George is going down deep. He's burning, man.
We should just do the listener questions.
I will admit, final thing, it does feel like Alyx came and went. It didn't have the impact.
No.
It came
The
and went.
FF7 remake made more of a splash, and that depresses me. That kills me.
But I think that speaks more about VR than it does about Half-Life Alex.
That
to be
still
honest.
depresses me and kills me. My depression and killing is still valid.
Sorry, guys. Anyway, listen to questions because Matt's got to roll out of here like a
Yeah,
badass.
Matt's got to roll out. Matt, you ready to answer some questions fast?
Liam drops a bomb and just like, all right, time to go to questions. All right, yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, let's do it.
All right. If you would like to ask some questions to the Dad and Sons podcast, then pay $5 to Dad and Sons Patreon at patreon.com/Dad and Sons.
Oh my God, you guys are such chills. Good.
And email, and still email. It's fine.
Or email dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com. We're going to be alternating between some inbox and Patreon questions if we have time. If not, we're going to wrap things up in the middle of a sentence. That's going to be hilarious. Alan Y. from the inbox says, "Hey Dad, Star Citizen just crossed $300 million in crowdfunding.
Jesus.
Will this game ever come out? Is there a point in time where people will stop donating money to it?"
No.
We were just talking about Valve.
Speaking of the devil, of games that are taking way too long, yeah.
Yeah, taking a sweet fucking time. And literally years pass by and you look at the game and yeah, they've made some strides. Like it looks better, but like...
I find it super interesting because like, do you consider a game that's come out in early access to have come out?
No.
I kind of do.
I don't know.
I kind of do because the game is there to play, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, if there's a release, then it's out. It's technically...
And Star Citizen is an early access game that has been out for like 3 years. So it's weird to me.
It's not the same because it's like not on Steam or anything. It's just like something you have to buy ships for, like with cash, with real money. You know, it's not like $20 on Steam.
If the person selling it says it's early access, then that's got to still count for something, right?
Yeah.
Like if you get sold a car and they say it's a prototype car, you're going to think, okay, this is not a real car that's finally released for public consumption, even though I'm putting my life at risk by driving this thing that might not be fully safe yet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like Star Citizen is a mess anyway. There's a lot of problems with it that we know, but it's kind of like this new type of game, like Warframe and that kind of thing, where it has like a base version of it, and then once you're a part of that community, the game just keeps getting updated over and over, like time after time, and it keeps luring you back in, and you just keep playing it, and then one day it'll reach 1.0, but it won't have changed the fact that you will have been a part of the community. I feel like anybody jumping in at 1.0 anyway, when this game does come out, is gonna have no fucking idea what is the game.
Will this game ever come out? Yes, it will. It already has, arguably. Is there a point in time where people will stop donating money to this game? I think no.
Nope.
No, there won't be.
It's one of those. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, fuck. Yeah, we talked about we talked about this when we first started the podcast, and I talked mad shit because people were spending $200 on fucking ships of a game
that you literally
you could barely fly in, and you needed a system to run it too. Like this is like this is like high tier gaming. This is like you got money to burn.
Yeah, they have a literal convention about it.
yeah, and I don't get it because I'm not going to pay $200 for a ship for a game where I can't have a full experience. Like, yes, you can walk around and maybe do a couple missions with friends and stuff like that. But like, I can do that in Elite Dangerous. Maybe not. Well, in Elite Dangerous, it would work. I won't fall through the floor. But still, like, it's like, you won't be able to get out the ship and stuff like that like you do in Star Citizen. But it's still not there. The social stuff is not there. Like, that's what you're gonna be playing Star Citizen for, is for like everything. Everything's built into it. You got VR, it'll be like alt space, but in space with space combat, with Elite Dangerous mechanics, with all this stuff. But it's not there yet. And I don't feel comfortable buying in. And it'll be released not this year, not next year, not the year after that. Because it just seems like they move at a very snail pace. Every time I watch those announcement videos, and it's just this small.
But at some point it'll happen. Like, as sure as turning 30, and as sure as getting old, and as sure as the planet getting hotter, and the government's getting all more and more disorganized and divided, it will happen. It's either going to release in a really bad state and people will forget about it, or it'll release in a fine state, and after years upon years of anticipation, it'll meet some sort of fan expectations and be fine and fizzle out. I think it's past a hype window of having a fantastic launch, but it'll happen eventually.
If there's a time to fail, it'll be now when everyone's distracted. But once everything is calmed down and you come up with a shitty product after all these people have given you money, ooh.
I don't want to dwell on it, but one last thing I want to point out is that I think the term early access is a marketing lie at this point. I think it's selling the exclusivity and the value of having an early experience before other people. But what you're really buying into is a community that's already well in development.
Mhm.
You're not, if you get into an early access game that's polished and has people
Yeah,
playing it,
I want to be super clear. Early access, for those guys compared to how useful it is for indie devs, is a wildly drastically different thing.
I wish the term was instead continued development or continued support. Early access sounds like something that has more value as a consumer. It's like selling a Coke for 99 cents instead of $1. I think it's kind of a misnomer and just there for marketing purposes. The game's builds have been out, therefore the game might as well be out.
I hope it does turn out good for the people who have bought in, because I have friends that have bought in.
Nobody wants a bad game.
No one wants
to
a bad
come out.
game.
Like even if you're not that interested, right? Yeah.
Justin H from the Patreon Discord asks, with the current situation in the world, what does cooking like for each of y'all? Has it changed from before? What does cooking look like, rather? Sorry, I'm rushing.
I did a couple keto pizzas. I do salads. I send pictures to these boys all the time about this stuff, and I force George to not eat sushi from the
kilo pizzas.
Keto pizza. Well, now I'm just eating whatever because the gyms were open. But like now, I'm gonna have to go back and like kind of manage my carbs and stuff.
What's a keto pizza?
Pizza with no carbs.
Yeah.
Or low carb.
Well, very low carbs. Very, very low.
What do you use
carbs.
for the crust?
So it'll be almond flour. You can change it up. You can use
cauliflower.
Cauliflower as well. Yeah. There's also a coconut flour version as well. Yeah, and depending on what flour you use, it gives you a different taste for the bread. And
it's clever.
Yeah,
I bet there's some sweetness to that almond dough too.
Yes,
almond dough is just two good words.
Yeah. It's good shit, man. It's good shit. It's crazy what you can do nowadays because people put themselves in such strict diets. It's like you end up finding like some really interesting stuff and pushing the boundaries. So he's like, okay, I want pizza, but I don't want carbs. And you just buy some ingredients and make it yourself. It's pretty easy. Pretty fucking easy, man. Anything you need to stay away from and get like certain like macros done. It's perfect. I don't count my stuff. I don't count my stuff. Let me not act like I do.
Years ago,
fuck that shit. Yeah, dude, you do it once and you're just like, no. All right, I understand what I need to eat. I'm just gonna free ball it and go to the gym. That's it.
No, I like calorie counting. It feels like a game. Crunch numbers, min-max,
so
your stats.
On brand for you, George.
You can't play Persona? Jesus Christ, boy.
I'm sorry, I can visualize what a calorie... Okay, actually, this is a fun question. I do visualize calories when I eat them, and I imagine like a glop of slop. Like 1 calorie in my brain, I imagine a penny-sized or dime... Exactly, it helps. It helps me visualize what I'm putting in my body. The grosser the visual, the less I want it inside of me.
I think that speaks to what you put in your body, George.
You are what you eat, George.
So my food has been shitty since the lockdown. Here in the American Southeast, we're back where we were on March. Mayor's issued full lockdown, having a civil war against the governor who wants a phase 2 reopening. But
full lockdown? Full?
Yeah, we were on do not leave the house rules this weekend.
Oh shit.
So I made one last trip to the grocery store on Friday, and since then I've just been eating like saltines with hummus. I like to buy sausages and just eat them with nothing else, and that'll fill me up for 6 hours. No, I don't even like really make meals anymore. It's bad.
Just some green smoothies, George. Get some Get some of them
I'll
greens
keep
inside
like
you,
a
man.
big salad in the fridge and sometimes just shove my hand in and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
and graze a bit. Yeah, substantial snacking rather than meals is what my diet has devolved into.
Get
I will
some kale
occasionally
chips,
have
man.
like a good protein-filled snack or veggie-filled snack. I don't even have meal times anymore.
Yeah.
I wake up at a different time every day. I go to sleep when I feel. I hate it.
To answer, I guess, a little bit more, I would say I was eating very protein focused, which is very fucking boring. Let me tell you, fucking boring. But now that the gyms are closed, I think I might just go back to doing a lot more vegan meals, man. To be honest, yeah, and start just
you don't like protein.
I don't like meat like that. But the thing, I was vegan for 6 years. You don't shake it. You just don't shake it. When you feel significantly better on something, when you find whatever your body likes, your body just like, you just kind of know. You like, okay, I'm eating this and I significantly, like, I feel weaker almost.
The Japanese know all about eating food, right, Liam?
I haven't said anything because mine's not worthwhile saying because I'm a terrible cook, but I have been trying to do better. I'm recently trying to limit how many calories I eat a day, as
It's
well
all
as
sake.
exercising regularly.
It's all
4 times a
sake.
week. But thankfully,
It's
I
all
live with a
networking.
good cook.
It's all networking sake. You.
So well,
Liam is not. He has no expression when I'm saying that. So there's some truth there. He has no expression.
I can't believe he hasn't talked more about this, though, because I am really curious to know how Japan's food culture has changed from the virus. Because here in America, like, people don't eat out or go to bars or...
Oh, well, I mean, we're open now. We're open for business.
Has that changed at all? Like, because in Japan, like, they love eating food. Japan cares more about food than most other places in the world.
Yeah, but, you know, most Japanese people are very good at cooking or have some basic knowledge of cooking up Japanese dishes, and so they do it at home. But now we're not in a state of emergency, and we haven't been for a month and a half, so bars and restaurants are opening.
One last question. Have there been any lines during coronavirus from at any point?
It's definitely harder to get into places because they have the social distancing for tables and 2-meter stuff. In Japan,
I bet
for
that's
everywhere,
rough.
like if you go to Starbucks and stuff, it's impossible to sit down because all the seats are already taken.
Starbucks in Japan?
Yeah, it was so cramped to begin with.
Yeah, so basically everywhere is at half capacity because there has to be 2 meters away from each other. So I haven't been out. I've been to one bar and it was like it's a Japanese bar, so it's very different to like a traditional bar. It's just this place I went to is like a sake place, and there's he has this beautiful wooden table, and that's all it is. It's basically an open storefront, this huge square wooden table, and just everybody stands around it. You can only have like 10 people in there max at one time, so you know that felt a little less dangerous than going to a place.
Is restaurant delivery popular over there?
Yeah, we have Uber Eats in Kyoto. I mean, it's pretty popular with me on a Saturday morning for a McDonald's breakfast. Hey, boy!
Hell yeah. Yeah, I've definitely been relying on that a hell of a lot more than I used to. Prices for that have gone down, too, since the virus.
Do you have the drop-off option? Like, we have...
I love how leaving shit at someone's door is now contact-free delivery.
Yeah.
Leave it on the doorstep has become contact-free, safe delivery. What's the jargon? What's the newspeak?
In Japan, they just call it drop-off.
Well,
Drop-off delivery.
I can't
drop
wait
it at
until...
your door, ring your bell, and then they run away.
Yeah. Ding Dong Ditch is now drop-off delivery.
Speaking about ditching, I have to go,
we got to get you out of here.
Matt's out because he's ready to jump into the Patreon Discord channel and spend all day.
Yeah, I'm not going to work at all.
Chatting with his wonderful friends.
Yeah, oh my
Thank
God.
you all for listening. Remember that you can follow us on Twitter and subscribe to Super Bunny Hop on YouTube. I wanted to actually do some shout-outs this week to Ryan Lafford for our hilariously garrulous theme song. And also thanks to Henry Ng for the animated video background. Everyone, try to have your darndestly wonderful week.
Also, before we leave, very quickly, I'm going to be releasing a demo of the golf game this weekend.
No fucking
How you
way.
gonna say it? How you gonna say it to,
Just dropping that.
everyone before you say it to us? Like, how is that? How is
Man,
that a thing?
finale.
Because I forgot. Because this is where I've been working really hard. Because I've been basically doing my day job, and then as soon as I clock off, I've been basically doing another day job until like 2 or 3 a.m. to
I
get
want
this
it
thing finished.
before anyone else gets it.
You will. I almost sent you boys a build today, but then I was like, there's no point because there's features missing. But anyway, there is a virtual indie showcase at the end of this week that is being organized, and it's a part of that, and there'll be a demo hopefully available on itch for people to play. I'll link it somewhere. It'll be on Twitter. But yeah,
send me that demo.
give it a shot.
Yes,
Give it
please.
away
Been
now.
asking for so long. All right.
It's really challenging, so please don't hurt me.